All right, what is up, everybody, and welcome into this super awesome edition of the South Florida Comedy Calendar, guys. I have not only sitting next to me an amazing guest, but I also have an amazing host with me, and I think that we have the recipe for what could be the best episode in Comedy Calendar history, guys. Today, my name is Sebastian Alvarez. I will be hosting for the day, and I am joined by our guest, the man of the hour, who will be headlining this weekend, guys, at the Miami Improv. You want to get out there, you want to get tickets, you want to be in person because the energy is going to be second to none anywhere else in the city of Miami. So I need the city of Miami to put your hands together, and the people in the community newspaper family to put your hands together for the very funny Ian Lara.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you, man. It's really cool.
No, thank you for coming out, man, and being here. We got a little early morning edition of the Comedy Calendar. We're drinking our coffee. We're getting the day started, and we're going to have a really amazing conversation with you. But also, we're going to give you guys out there a little bit of an insight, not only into Ian and his comedy career and what he's done, but what you got to look forward to this weekend at these shows and why you want to be there and get your tickets. Now, I'm also joined by my co-host, as I am every single week, guys, Art Roach. How you doing, Art?
Sabby, I'm doing pretty good, man. I think this week I'm excited because I think we have a guest in studio who is on a bigger and harder grind than even we are down here in Miami. So got to take my hat off to this comedian right here next to us.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Dude.
Thank you.
So we were talking a little bit before the show. You were born and raised in New York.
Yes, sir.
That was where you started kind of your comedy career. What was it that kind of put you on the path to comedy? Were you always funny? Were you always like the joker in class?
I think in junior high school and high school, I was like the funny kid, but all of my friends were funny. So everybody was funny. I think I was the funny kid, and then people suggested it, and then I loved watching stand up. I never thought it was for me, but then people suggested it, and then I was like, then I found out that New York was the place to do it at, and I'm like, I'm already from here. So I was like, I'm going to try it. And then what really did it, one day when I was in college, I saw they did like a comedy competition amongst the students. And I didn't join that year, but I went to watch. And I saw like some of my friends do it. And it was good, but I was like, I think I could do this. Like I could do it. And then the next year I did it. And then I started. Like when I graduated, I started.
All right.
So speaking of college, if I understand correctly, you were studying law in university. So were you always a speaker? Were you always someone that wanted to get out there in front of people?
Not really, but I guess I always had that. Later on, when people were like, "Oh, how do you go from law to comedy?" I realized it was the thing that I liked about law was kind of what I do in comedy, which was like the speaking in a courtroom and everybody listening to me and everybody having to be quiet. I was like, that's the part I wanted. So I'm a big fan of people not talking. when I'm around.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Since you have a law background, Sebastian and I have been arguing about this. If I bought this hair in Turkey, is it mine? It's mine, right? Like it's possessions 9/10.
Is that Turkey hair?
We'll talk about Turkish Airlines.
Sponsor us.
The sponsor. Yeah, it's technically yours. But even if you got it in Turkey, it's still your hair. So
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If it was an Indian person beforehand, whatever, you know what I mean? It's my hair now is the point.
Yeah.
You got like a hair BBL. Like they take the fat out of the back and put it on
Hell
the top.
yeah.
Yeah. No, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. It's growing in good.
I was gonna say, growing up in New York, like you said, you gotta be funny. You got to have some kind of defense. There's so much that gets thrown at you. The culture there is so crazy. How do you think that helped you, like, shape you becoming a comedian? Like, just the city itself?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think New Yorkers see it as funny. We just be living, and the city's crazy. I mean, there's a homeless dude masturbating next to you, so almost anything you say is gonna be funny when that's what the thing is, you know, next to you. So I think that we don't even notice it. Like we just kind of exist. I don't know. I think stand-up comedy, like doing stand-up, is very different than just being funny, like with your friends or in the street. There's a lot of people who are that. There's a lot of people who are very funny, like in conversation with their friends and even with strangers. But writing a joke is very different. So I'm not sure how. I think maybe with the New York, the bravado, it helped me like have the confidence to go on stage and be like, oh, I could do this. But I don't think it translates like that much, like friend humor and on stage humor.
Well, I mean, I think being from New York, there's definitely, and I kind of mentioned it off the top, like one of the things that I have this AI tool that's a Chinese AI tool that I use, and I asked it to give me like one word to describe you, and it's put in never-ending grind. That's like the
The
phrase that
Chinese are
came-
saying this about me?
That's what they're saying about
AI.
you.
I always like the Chinese. Those are good people.
So I mean, I think it kind of speaks to what you were just saying, which is like, you know, you come from a place that has funny in every corner, but then grinding it out and making it into something that's like actually a career. I mean, if I understand, you're out on the road by 20, right?
But yeah, well, yeah, I started in probably like 23. Like 23, I started after like 2-3 years. I started going out first a little locally, like New Jersey area, Philadelphia. Then I started going a little further. Then I started I started doing colleges, and that really took me like, and then it's grown. But when people say grind, bro, I don't know. Like, first of all, it's a job. Like, I'm making a living, so
Right.
I have to work, and more importantly, I love it. So it don't feel like, oh, it's just an endless grind. It feels like I'm just doing cool stuff a lot.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, bro.
And so when you started comedy, what were some of those spots in New York that you first hit up that got you going?
Oh, you wouldn't even know. It was just open mic bars. Like, they're literally just bars and dive bars all over the East Village and the West Village. A lot of them have closed now. They're not even places anymore. As far as like the comedy clubs, the first clubs that I started to branch into was like the Stand Comedy Club. They were good to me very early on. And then it grew, Like, now I've been doing it 14 years now. So now, like, I'm in every, like, I can do every club every night, that's what I dreamed of when I started. I was just like, if I could just do every club every night. And in New York right now, comedy is just so hot that every show's sold out. So you just run around doing sold out shows. It's New York, so you never know who's going to be in the audience, especially when you're at a club like the Comedy Cellar or the Stand. I'm a big like Knicks fan, and today, just before I flew in on Wednesday night, I was at the Comedy Cellar, and Karl Anthony Towns just happened to come by,
damn.
like after he just got eliminated from the playoffs, and I'm like, yo, this is so cool. Like, we was just all cheering, like watching you, and now you here watching us and clapping for us. So yeah, so no, it's really cool. It's really cool, the ability to get to like do all the things.
And did you spend some time like at the Comedy Cellar, kind of like a regular, or
What do you mean?
like did you do like a residency there or anything where you kind of like did a couple of months straight?
No, I mean, the Comedy Cellar in New York, they're like showcase clubs, right? So it's not like a headlining club, like, like the one like here where I'm doing an hour. In New York, there's so many great comedians that you can't just like, they have to give space for everybody. So at the Comedy Cellar, they have 5 comics do 15 minutes and a host. That's the show. So I'm there every night. Like when I'm in New York, I'm there every night. And they have 4 rooms. They do 10 to 20 shows a night between 4 rooms. So there has a lot of opportunity for stage time once you get in. And if they like you, you have a lot of opportunities to work. So I'm there every night.
Damn.
Yeah,
dope.
working alongside. Like I met all the legends there.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you is, are there any of your kind of comedy legends that you did get to meet there or perform with? I know, like Chris Rock, I think you've met Chris Rock already, right?
Yeah, for sure. Rock, Chappelle, Kev, all of them. Chappelle, off meeting me there, he flew me to Ohio, to his house in Ohio, to do like a little comedy boot camp, which really we were just doing shows and partying, but it was
With Dave Chappelle, which is a comedy
But
boot
that's a comedy
camp.
boot camp. That's a comedy boot camp.
Dude, it was dope as hell. Yeah, this was like a couple months ago. It was dope as hell. I was like, we went to his town. He's like the king of Yellow Springs, Ohio. It's crazy. He runs like the whole thing, and he's opening his new club there. And we got to hang out and talk comedy, and he gave us advice, and he told us a bunch of cool stories. It was like I a couple times I had to stop, and I was like, when I started, I couldn't. If you told me that I'd be doing that when I started, I couldn't even imagine. Like, how would I get there? So yeah, so you like it puts you in a lot of crazy opportunity, and I think the New Yorker in me helps me deal with that. Like, so being like I've sat at a table like this with Chris Rock, and I just be like, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in my head, I'm like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
This is like a guy who, when I started, this is somebody who I looked, who I was like, this is my, somebody who I want to be like. So
Right.
Last weekend we had Bill Bellamy at the Miami Improv,
Yeah.
and afterwards I was there, like they were outside Copper Blues, so I was there hanging out with them, and my brother happens to call me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just here, with Bill Bellamy, whatever. You know what I mean? Just like,
Right. No, yeah. You gotta. Yeah, my family and friends, they have already, like, I guess they've become used to it. So I won't even tell them unless it's like a name that's gonna blow their mind, because they already know that I've done the Chappelle, Kevin Hart. So if I don't say somebody they're like, you call me for this?
Yeah.
like next call better be Obama, dog.
Yeah, right.
It's Obama or Drake. If it ain't that, don't call me.
Exactly. Yeah. No, but it's very I respect comedy so much. It's put me in so many cool opportunities. It's given me so many cool things. It's taken me all over the world. So I'm very grateful for it.
One of the things that we, I think I told you at the top, we are comedians as well. And one of the things that we're constantly doing besides working on our material is trying to establish like an online presence, a social media presence. And I mean, dude, you are constantly posting. I mean, you're across every single platform. And it looks like you have a kind of a strategic approach to how and what you post on each of these social media sites.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit?
I'm like you, man. I'm trying to figure it out. That that's not that when I started comedy, that's not why you started comedy. Like now it's reverse, and I'm kind of having to learn on the fly. Like these new comics now, they'll start comedy with like 1 million followers.
Right.
And I'm like, this is insane. Like it used to be opposite. You used to start comedy and then hopefully you get good enough where you could get 1 million followers, but now it's the opposite. So I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know how to do this thing, man. I wish I did. I've set that as my goal. I think for too long I've been too much of a purist in like stand up, of like I'm gonna just try to get like as good as I can in stand up and let everything work itself out. But I think it's very important now to have an online presence. So I take my specials, my Tonight Show sets, I chop them up, I put them up there. I'm trying to do more like, it's weird. Social media is weird because I could get up in front of, I get up in front of 2,000 people and do a show, but posting something is like embarrassing. Yeah. I'm like embarrassed to do that. So you got to get over that fear like at first. So I'm trying to do that now with like automatic posting. It makes it easy because you just set it. I set it for like the week. Yeah. I don't think about it. Like I'll look at my phone like, oh yeah, I posted. I didn't even notice that I had posted that. So.
Yeah, I find that like usually after a set, I have to give it like 2 or 3 weeks before I can really like go through and like edit it and try to do it myself. But with the AI tools, it makes it a lot easier because now it's already, okay, I got a clip already there. It's pretty good. Let's go ahead and schedule it and just get it out.
Yeah, no, for sure. You got to do it right away though. You can't wait 3 weeks. Yeah. You got to do it right away. You got to do it like as soon as you get off stage, like or else it's just gonna become some like.
Oh, so yeah, it's obscure now.
Yeah, and also for me, like a bit that I did 3 weeks ago is completely different right now. Like, it's I do so much stand up that it's always changing and evolving, and I, getting better. Bits tend to get better the more you do them, the more you perform them.
Speaking of that, what kind of is your process in terms of developing out like an hour for a special or an hour just for you to go on stage and perform on the road? Like I know some people, they write their stuff out specifically. Some people, they just go off like tips. Like how do you develop those jokes?
Yeah, I basically, because I just filmed a new special. This is going to be basically my third one.
On HBO, right?
Well, no, that HBO one, that's out. That came out in 2022, and I just filmed a new one. I don't know where that'll be. I don't know. I don't know where that's gonna go. But I filmed that in December, so I'm in the process of like starting over. Now I filmed that in December. We're 6 months in. I'm probably at like maybe 25, 30 minutes of like new stuff. But a comic told me this before. They were like, once you get into the groove of stand-up, it just kind of happens. Like I don't put too much pressure on myself. It just kind of happens. I'll get ideas here and there. Then I'll sit down. I'll write them. I'll do some on stage. Then you keep doing them. and start working itself out. Before you know it, you look back. You're like, all right, I got about 20 minutes. I got about 25 minutes, and then you just grow. I just want to perform. I'm not like in a crazy rush. Now the way things work, people just want you. People come see you 6 months, and then in 6 months they come back and they want you to have like a new hour. And I'm like, I could have a new hour, but it's not gonna be good. Right. Or it's either you let me cook this and get it to the point where I think it's gonna be good, or I could come back with 6 hours of just stories that have no like beginning, middle, or end. So I just gotta find a balance. But mostly, I'll just think about it. Like I'll have an idea. If I have a funny idea, it'll carry with me, and I'll start thinking about the blueprint. And eventually, when I have it, I'll sit down with a pen and paper. Like I had this new thought that I've been playing with. I haven't wrote it down or anything, but I think that I'll figure something out about it, because I went to let's say I know a person who got married illegally for papers.
Okay.
But then they did like a fake wedding. Like
Nice.
A staged wedding?
So I went to like the staged wedding.
Nice.
So I'm at a wedding where everyone's like pretending that like it's not
Like it's love.
like like it's love. So I think about that. I've had that thought for like a couple weeks. And then when I came to Miami, I don't know why Miami, but I was like, I got to do this bit.
A lot of fake love in Miami.
It's gonna kill you.
Yeah, they're gonna relate to it down here for sure.
Right. So that's how it is. I'll talk about it. I'll mention it like in passing. If I get the energy that people like, sometimes you bring up a topic and people be like, yeah, that's you gotta figure that out. Or sometimes they don't, and I'm like, okay, I gotta search deeper. But sometimes just bringing it up in conversation shows me the relatability to people, and then I'll sit down with it and I'll start like breaking it down, like, and then it'll go from there. And then you see it in like 6 months, and it's like this long, like, hopefully this one will be a 10-minute chunk on going to a fake wedding.
Yeah.
But like going to a fake wedding is kind of like faking the moon landing. You know what I mean? Like I think it's just cheaper to just go to the moon. You know what I mean?
Just get married.
Just get married. Have people come out. You know what I mean? It's gonna be awkward anyways. You don't got to fake it.
Yeah. That's not bad.
It's true. Play a whole professional photographer to stage the wedding.
Yeah, like just do it for real. It would be awkward. The families already hate each other. Don't worry.
And also, I think these people went like, you could fake it. You don't have to do like, you could fake it with less than this. Like they went too
above
hard.
and beyond.
They went too far.
This is better than your real wedding would have been.
You don't need 150 people for the fake wedding. You could have done this a private ceremony. And it'd be like 5 people there.
I think that's why they say like, don't let your girl plan your fake wedding. You know what I mean?
She's gonna spend all your fake money.
Yeah.
You're like, girl, this is fake. Like, we're not actually. She's like, no, I need this. As a little girl, I always pictured my fake wedding would be like this.
You're
Damn,
posing with like, you got a fake smile.
And plus, fake weddings are at $50K right now. In case anybody out there is wondering, like, you know what I mean?
If anybody's interested in
up.
yeah.
Well, that's the thing. There's like a fake wedding person. There's like a person that
producer?
handles like the paperwork. Well, it's like, well, you got to do this, and you're like,
They got like a Saul Goodman, like a dude that does it under the table for him.
Yes, of course. It's Miami. We got a couple of those: English, Spanish, and Creole. Whatever you need. You know what I mean?
there's a choreograph that knows how fake weddings are supposed to look.
The fake wedding songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's crazy, bro. You got to go to a fake church. It's all done in a church of Scientology.
Yeah. I think kind of to bring it back to the beginning a little bit. You're someone who's done. I mean, you worked with HBO. You've done an HBO special. You did a Comedy Central special. You got one now that's coming out soon. But you also been on the Tonight Show, which is like a comedy like bucket list thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How did that happen?
Yeah. The first time was 2019, and I remember I was out in Los Angeles. I was eating at what's the Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. I remember I was sitting at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles by myself before I went to the airport. I was just sitting there, and I was on my phone, and I got an email. I see the email, and it's from Michael, who he books the Tonight Show. I had knew him, and at that time I knew him in passing. Like, we had met, like a couple people recommended me to him, so we knew each other. And he just sent me an email out of nowhere. I don't know how he got my email, but he was like, "Hey, I'm looking for like comics for the Tonight Show. So if you have a set that you want me to watch, send it over. I'd love to watch it." And I replied, I said, "Okay, no problem." And then immediately I was like, okay, I'm flying back to New York tonight. I hit up one of the clubs. I was like, "Hey, I need to record a set for the Tonight Show." And they were like, "Yeah, if you could make the 6 o'clock show, come by to 6 o'clock. I was like, "All right, cool." And I got on the plane. I started like going through my jokes, like writing out like the set basically. Like, I'm like, all right, I would like to do this joke to that joke to this joke, and I think this is 5 minutes. And then I landed, I went home, I changed, I went to the club, I recorded it, 5 minutes, recorded it. It went fine, I thought. The next day, like they sent me the tape, I edited it, I cut it like 5 minutes and sent it to them. And like, I didn't hear nothing back for like 2 weeks. And then one day out of nowhere, I had a day job at the time. I was at my job, and and then I got another email from him. He was like, "Hey man, this is great. Can you do this next week?" And I was like, "Yeah." I can do this next week. And yeah, and that was it. And then now I've done it 4 times now. Wow. So I do it like every year now, which is, I mean, that's another thing where I'm like, I'm friends with Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah,
it's so crazy.
Crazy. I couldn't even imagine. Like,
and I'm saying, like, as a comedian, man, that's like bucket list stuff. You know what I mean? Like that's something. Is there anything else that, I mean, you already went to, you know, you hung out with Dave Chappelle already. You've met Chris Rock, met Kevin Hart. You've been on the Tonight Show. Is there any kind of bucket list things still that you're thinking about into the future?
Yeah, man. I think I've had a great stand-up comedy career if I were a comedian from the 90s. But today, like, I've done all the stuff that they do, like the HBOs, the Tonight Shows, all the mainstream stuff. But now the fabric is changed. It's different now. So you got to have a big social media following so people come out. So I think that's my next thing. I want to get. I'm proud of the work I do on stage. I work these bits out. I get up on stage every night. I'm not just half-assing it. I'm not just talking up there. Like, these are stuff that I work on. So I just want more people to know about me so they could come out to the shows, so they could, like, see the work that I've created. Like, so that's the next goal. Like, just getting them, maximizing the amount of people that come out to see the shows.
And so speaking of your shows, you got the shows this weekend at the Miami Improv.
Yes, sir.
Not only are we looking forward to it, but we know the whole staff has been looking forward to you coming through, because I know a lot of the staff, they follow you, like, they're fans of yours. So, like, we know that we have a good, incredible weekend of comedy coming. What do the fans and the people in Miami have to expect? What kind of, like, what is your comedy style? Do you do more? Are you doing more, you know, stories, or how like, what do you think?
Nah, I mean, look, I guess my comedy style, I don't know. I just do what I think is funny. Like, if you put my name into YouTube and watch the first thing that comes up, and if you think that that's something that you'd like, then come and you can get that, but a better, like, what I think is better now. That's really it. I don't put myself in like a whole. I'm not like a, you know, I have bits, I have jokes, I have bits, I have even my stories. They're bits. I'm not doing a ton of crowd work. I don't care how you met. I don't care. I don't care how long you've been together.
You're a 90s comedian.
Yeah. I don't care how you proposed. I'm not trying to hook you up.
You said it off the top too. You're like, I'm here to talk and for you to be quiet. And
yeah.
Well, I want to give you a show. You paid the money. I want to give you the show that you paid for. And I do this thing. Normally, like, now I've been closing where, like, I'll do, like, my last joke, and then I'll be like, I'll literally ask the audience, I'm like, so, like, we're good, right? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, everyone feels like this was worth it. Like, you got your money, and people are like, yeah. And I was like, all right, thank you. Have a good night.
Is that your post-coitus conversation?
Yeah. I'm like, this was fun, right? This wasn't meaningless.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, it was cool. I was like, all right, cool.
Perfect.
Yeah, have a good night. And then I get off.
You're like, 10 out of 10 would highly recommend?
No, I don't open up the floor for critique, but I was like, we're good, right? Yeah,
that's dope.
Good. Yeah.
You're talking about kind of branching out new horizons. So will we ever see an OnlyFans special? Is that something that's in the...
OnlyFans is actually doing specials.
Yeah.
Dude, I right now, I've been doing comedy 14 years, man. I just want to maximize the amount of people that can see me. So if it's OnlyFans that's going to do it, I'll give them a set. I'll give anyone a set, bro. I just want... That's the thing, like how you was talking about the staff at the club, which, by the way, this club, the Miami Improv, this is one of my favorite clubs. Like, I did it, the first time I did it was, I think, about a year and a half ago. And I had such a good time. I did a midweek. I did a Wednesday, Thursday. And I had such a good time that when I went back to New York, I was telling everybody, like, I had such a good time at the Miami Improv. And they were like, what? Like, you did? And I was like, yeah, like, the shows were great. The staff was great. Copper Blues next door is great. Like, everything was just dope. And I was so excited to come back. But what you was mentioning about the staff, like, when a staff at a comedy club, like, messes with you, that means so much, because they see so much comedy. Like, they see comedy more than me. Like, and I'm at the comedy club every night, but I'm, you know, I perform and I leave, you know, they're in the room watching. So they know, like the biggest names who suck, who are just coasting by on their fame, whether they got it on TV, TikTok, or whatever they did. but when a comedian is like, and they hear a lot of jokes, so they know like, all right, there's so many comedians who do the same bit, who do this hack. So when they like a comedian, it's like, damn, okay, this is real. They have a taste for it. So that means a lot to me. So I just want more people to feel how the staff at the Improv.
There you go.
Well, I'll tell you. So I started working the Improv about a year ago now, and this whole year that I've been working there, every single comedian that they've like as it come up on the calendar, and they're like, "Oh, you're gonna like that one. You're gonna look out for that one." Yeah, they've been right across the board. You know what I mean? And you're like Sebastian mentioned, you're one of those guys that are like, "Man, you're gonna like this. This guy is real deal. He's gonna go up there and do comedy." I'm a little bit of a purist too, so I'm excited for it. And this weekend, I mean, it's gonna be 5 shows. It's gonna be unbelievable, man. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I went by the club yesterday and there was another show going on and it was packed out, and I was like, oh man, I hope this is gonna be fun. The Miami Improv is a huge room, but all the times I did it, it's been great. It's been good.
One of the things we talk about here on the show all the time, but you just mentioned it, which is you were here a year and a half ago. You did a midweek show. And oftentimes when we see somebody that just blows our minds, we're like, man, when you guys see them next year, they're going to be headlining a weekend. Yeah. And sure enough, you're a perfect example of that. Someone who's done the hard work before you got on stage, when you got on stage, came down here, represented, and look at that, 5-show weekend. You know what I mean?
I usually, when I did the midweek, I usually don't even do I don't do midweek shows because I was like, I could just stay in New York and do spots in New York and just do it there. But when I had the opportunity, I was like, I haven't done the Miami Improv, and it was the week between Christmas and New Year's, so it was that midweek was like a long weekend, kind of. So I was like, this makes sense. And then I came and I had, such a great time that I was like, oh yeah, well, we'd love to be back. And then I've done some of the other clubs that the Improv, like the Tempe Improv, and I love that they just treat comedians very well. So when they sent off, I was like, oh yeah, I'd love to do it. And I appreciate it because now, honestly, it's a weird spot right now because I don't judge the clubs, but a lot of clubs, they need to stay open. So they need to bring in the TikToker that's going, sell out 8 shows that, the show not going to be great, but they're going to pack out their venue so they could pay the rent. So when a club takes a chance on a comedian who they don't necessarily know if that was going to happen, that's a risk, that's a risk for them. It used to be the norm. It used to be like, I was speaking to another comedian about this. You used to back in the day, and when I say back in the day, literally up until like 10 years ago, even when I first started going on the road, you used to go on the road, and when you did a club, if the club didn't pack out, the club would be like, hey man, I'm sorry we couldn't pack this out for you. Yeah. Like we did all the publicity we could. Sorry that we couldn't do this for you, but we'd love to have you back. That used to, and you'd be like, oh no problem. Now it's the opposite. Like if you don't sell out a whole weekend, the club is like, what are you doing? Why aren't you doing street interviews to get your following up? To get your following up. So when a club takes a chance on a comic, it means a lot. So I appreciate the people, for them to come out and and support it because it's a big deal.
I mean, one of the reasons that we started this podcast is to hit exactly what you just said. Is a lot of times we have friends that are very talented. They're putting on shows. They're doing these great, amazing things, but they're just not multiplying it by getting it out. So this acts like as a megaphone, so we can shout out other people's good work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. It's something that oftentimes. I think nowadays it's a lot easier because we have social media, but it's also a lot more saturated.
Yes.
So you have to be, more creative. Like I was talking about you earlier, you have this multi-pronged approach. On X, you kind of update your fans. On Instagram, you're putting the clips and the kind of funny bits and stuff like that. It takes that level of engagement to get. Like right now, I'm getting 35 to 45-year-olds. Like 25-year-olds aren't looking at my stuff. You know what I mean? That's why I have Sebastian on board to help me get to that younger crowd. You know what I mean? Because he knows what skibbity toilet is. Like you know what I mean? Exactly. Like, I don't know. Like
exactly.
He's still trying to explain that one to me. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. Right. They have toys now that they sell at Target for that thing. It's insane.
That's not gonna make sense.
It never will. We're living in the end times. Anyway.
Yeah. No. You got to do all the things. Like you got to do all the things. And at first, I think I was being too much of a purist about it. But now I'm like, all right, this is the game. You just got to play it. You just got to play the game. But at the end of the day, I still I still want people to just enjoy the
show.
When you come see it, enjoy the show. Like that's the most important thing to me. When I see performers who are selling out 10 shows, and then you go to the show and I'm like, they don't even value the people that's there. I'm like, you didn't come up the way that I came up. Some people just got pretty famous and popular really fast, so they never had to come up where they're like basically pleading with people to come watch the show. Like, they kind of just started doing something, and now they're huge, and they're like, now they're on the road and they're selling out, and they're like, yeah, I'm just a guy that sells out. But it's a marathon.
And I would say that's a different process, but I think there's value in the latter strategy, where it's like what you did, where you proved yourself to these people that were here, that came to your shows last year. And I'm sure a lot of those people are going to be coming this weekend. You know what I mean? They're not coming because they saw your Instagram or they saw your TikTok or whatever, a sketch. No, they came out and saw you perform. And I'm sure, because in Miami, we get a lot of that. We get a lot of repeat people coming back.
Yeah.
Those fans are going to stick with you. You know what I mean? Sometimes people who just follow somebody online, they go to that show and it's not great. They just stop engaging with that person's content. They'll never come back. They'll never spend money on for a ticket again. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I had a comic who, she was opening for me. She mentioned this to me, and then I remembered that a club had also mentioned this to me before. A lot of people who come see me will bring like a big group. Like, she was like, I remember she was opening for me in Boston. I laughed Boston, and she was like, all the people, there's like groups of like 8 and groups of like 10. Like, people bring out big groups, and then the club owner also, he had messaged me. He was like, people buying like groups of like 5 and 10, and then I'm doing a meet and greet after, and people telling me like, yeah, I brought out my friends from work. So I appreciate that. Like, I'm a guy that like I'd like to think you can bring people who have never saw me or heard of me to the show, and I still think they'll have a good time.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not 100%. No one's 100%. But for the most part, like, you can, if you're a fan of mine, you can bring like the whole group. And I have people bring their parents, and I have people bring their girlfriend, like from the whole spectrum, from 25 to 65, 70, like they'll get it. That you could come. So I appreciate that, and I tell people all the time, like, I encourage people to come alone, because a lot of people don't know about this, but you can go see a comedy show alone. It's cool. Yeah. It's dark. No one's talking. It's fine.
It's one of the easiest way to get good seats too, because I can always find one place close to the front to put one person.
Right. So. And people sometimes they like embarrassed. I'm like, dude, is there anything better? Like, go to a club, get yourself a drink, get a wine. If you don't drink, get some food, and just sit back, watch the show. No one bothering you, no one talking to you. There's nothing cooler than that. Like, I always tell people, go see a show by yourself. But I also encourage people, if you want to bring 10 people to my show, do that too.
For sure.
Well, you mentioned like people coming out and some of like the work as we used to have to do like in the 90s. And you mentioned Kevin Hart, who's like one of my comedy heroes. Like, I just love him. He's kind of like never ending grind as well. He's hitting things from every and one of the stories that I heard and we hear all the time at the Improv is when the Improv used to be in the Grove, the old Improv. Kevin Hart would be down here and he would be on the street barking people in, engaging with the audience, obviously getting them to see his shows, doing a good job, and then kind of coming back and creating that whole virtuous circle. And you see where he is now. You know what I mean? It's like, it shows that kind of work can really take you to the next level, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes I hear those stories and I'm like, was he doing that? Because I hear that. I'm like, I don't think he was on the street barking people in.
No, that's
they all did. Dude.
They say
at least in Miami. At least in Miami, that's the only perspective that we have.
Where the Improv used to be is heavy foot traffic.
Yeah.
So it's like it was really like in the middle of this. It's a mall, but it's like an outdoor mall. Yeah. And then you have a ton of foot traffic, so you're able to get out there and really like. You know, but again, in those days when that would work.
That would work. Yeah, now there'll be like
restraining orders.
Well, how many? Let me see your following. If I'm gonna come. They still do that in New York too. The bargaining thing. Yeah, man. We're always just trying to get people to watch. I enjoy. Sometimes as a comedian, like once you get big and you're like a name, you selling out, you're making all this money, that's cool. But now it kind of becomes like you're just performing for your friends, right? Like, even though it's almost like a one-way friendship, because the fans, they know everything about you because they watch all your stuff, they watch your podcast, they watch you on stage, so they know everything about you. You don't know nothing about them, obviously, because it's impossible for you to know everyone. So they feel like there's like a friendship, but then your comedy becomes bad because now you're just doing comedy for your friends. and maybe not bad, but it just is not as sharp as like when you got to win them over.
Yeah.
Like at my shows, at least, I mean, for most of the time, I think at least 40% of the audience don't really know me like that. They kind of just came out to a comedy show. So I enjoy, like, I have to win them over. I enjoy winning them over, and then after the show, they're like, how come I never heard of you? Like, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm on the things. I'm doing it. I'm doing the things. And they're like, oh yeah, we're going to watch this. This was like great. You know, we're going to go home and binge on all the stuff that you got out there, you know? So I still enjoy that part of it. Like at the shows, there's going to be people that never seen me. So I got to bring it. I'm not coasting by on, you know, something that that you know about me that I could just kind of, because that's the hard part of comedy, is finding that connection and relatability. And when people don't know you, you gotta really bring it to find that.
Right.
You know,
you're from Queens, New York.
Yes, sir.
Right, and so you're familiar with the 5 elements of hip hop.
Yeah,
we're around the same age, I think. So for me, like the MC aspect, of hip hop, to me, that always included comedy, right? Like being a mic controller, and you kind of alluded to that recently, which is one of the reasons I love doing comedy, is walking into a room full of strangers and being able to just grab that mic and just like control them, like kind of play the audience like an orchestra. Like, now you laugh, now you laugh, now you hold back, awkward silence, And I think that it's one of the things, and you just kind of described it very beautifully, which is, some people in the room are not going to know me, but when they leave here, I want them to feel like they got the primer, they got the intro course into who I am, and that can lead them into going and binging my stuff online or coming back to another show. Is hip hop a part of like your life? Like, do you enjoy hip hop?
Of course. I mean, of course, from Queens, New York. Of course, hip hop is. I think hip hop leaks into other stuff, and it's important to take the good things, like how you just said, like the good things, but there's also bad aspects of it that people try to bring into like a different art form, where I'm like, yeah, we don't need to bring this part of it into it. Like the part you said, I agree with, but then also there's comics who believe that like comedy is like hip hop, into like, we gotta like battle rap, like comedians gotta battle, and I'm like, no, we don't. We don't have to battle. This is not. You have your type of funny, you have your type of funny, I have my type of funny. We could share the stage and make them laugh in all different funny ways. Maybe you do characters and act outs, and maybe you're just straight up set up punch, and I'm more storytelling, and we can all do it, and everyone have a good time. I don't need to go out there and be like, you suck, you're not as funny as me. There's no. I hate that part of it, where, and that there was an era where that it blended. It was like a lot of like hip hop comedy where a comedian felt that they were a rapper. Like, I'm not a rapper. I know I kind of look like one. Maybe I'll take the glasses off. Yeah, I'm like, I'm not a rapper wearing a chain and glasses.
Say it one more time. I'm from Queens.
Yeah, no, like I'm not a rapper. Like, bro, to me, the comedy that works the best for me is about embarrassing stuff that happened to me. Like, I'm not some cool rapper on a boat with a hose, like that ain't me. I have a lot of embarrassing things that happen to me, and then I tell them on stage for money. So that's what I am. But the good parts of like that, like the crowd, that part, yes, I agree with that part. Yeah,
it's, for me, it's one of those things that in comedy, you kind of alluded to earlier, which is like kind of growing up, I didn't know that stand-up was a thing that you're allowed to do. I saw it on TV, I saw people doing it, but as I got older and I saw how it kind of really blends, it's an art form, right? So it blends everything together, and allows you to express yourself. I think, like even like Sebastian and I, like I'm gonna be 40 this year, Sebastian's 26. So the things that we, the audience we hit with, the things that we talk about, are so different. But at the end of the show, it's always, you get people coming up to you and they're like, man, thank you so much. Thank you for bringing up that thing. And for me, that's one part that's very similar to like music in general, but like hip hop, it's like you get that after show feeling where people felt really connected to, and they felt seen in the audience.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And down here, man, right now, it's like you'll see it tomorrow, but it's like, I think even in the year and a half since you've left, like the maturity of the comedy audience here in South Florida has really gotten up. Like, people are coming out, they're watching shows, they're keeping up with what's going on. And they can really take a bigger appreciation, I think, from some of the, just the skills that are coming down here. I mean, it's going to be, you'll see it this weekend, but it's going to be a good time, bro.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. I'm excited to do it. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. When you have a good show, like when I have a good show and I'm meeting people after and they're like, with me. They're like, it's not that it was fun. It was fun. It was so funny. Like I laughed the whole time, but also the stuff that I spoke about, they like. I guess because of my pre-law thing, the way that I do comedy, I kind of like make arguments for a bizarre point. Like I'll have a bizarre thought or idea, and then I'll try to, through the joke, make a point for it. But it'll be funny. I'll try to make it as funny as I can, but I also try to make it stand on its own. Like even without, if you take out the jokes, the logic there, it stands, right? Like I present, if this is this, then why not, you know? So when you do that and it works, people come up to you and they're like, yeah, they feel that you gave them, not only did you make them laugh, but you made arguments, because sometimes they agree with the stuff. Like my HBO special, romantic comedy, and I didn't do this intentionally, but I noticed that in that one, I was making fun of men a lot in the way that men date. I was making fun of them a lot. Like I was breaking down like all the stupid things men do, and women loved it. Yeah. And then in the new hour when I recorded, I kind of flipped. I was like, all right, well now I'm gonna make fun of the women in the thing.
Nice.
And women still love it. They still find it very funny because of the things that I take. But some of them, like they might be like, oh, why are you making fun of women? I'm like, watch the other hour. I'm making fun of men too. Like I'm making fun of everyone. But at the end of the day, I'm just trying to point out absurdities in our daily life. Like I don't have an angle of like anything. Like I'm just trying to point out, absurd dating stuff or absurd, travel stories or absurd stuff that happened to me. That's it. I don't have a higher angle or a stance.
Speaking of your specials, you've produced a few specials already, which is something that I think any comedian would be super proud of, but I know it is a lot of work. And I know that all the aspects of it, sometimes people get into it and they don't realize like, oh man, the editing is actually super difficult, the capturing of it, the shooting of it. What was that like technical process behind just getting on? Like, I'm sure the getting on stage and performing was the easiest part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, when I did the HBO one, that had HBO finance in it, so that was really easy. It's amazing how easy things can be when you have like money. You can like I've been telling you guys
our problems that we're poor. I've been saying it forever.
No, that's a fact, bro. I mean, because when I did the HBO one, it would just be like, I'd like to have this, and they'll ask HBO, and they'll be like, okay,
like gold or silver.
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah. Okay, I want this person to edit it. We had one of the best editors in stand-up. They were like, yeah, we'll get him, And then also the editor, like they want to work with HBO. So when you work with a production, they want to work with HBO too. So they might be like, oh hell yeah, I'll come on board. Like I won't even, I'll charge you this rate, because they're trying to pad their resume too, like to work on special things. This last one, I paid for it myself. That's when you really see that's when you really see the hard work. And I tried to, I tried my best to not cut corners and do it the most professional and efficient way possible. But even that's a lot of work, because I produced my HBO. I was a producer on my HBO one also. But for the last one I did, I was like executive producer. That's a lot, because it was even like, I remember when we filmed, I was like, it was so funny because, I at the taping, there was maybe 40 workers between camera people, the director, the director of photography. It was like about 40 workers. And I was standing there. I was like, you guys all work for little old me. This is fun. This is nice. I'm like the boss here. This is great. I'm employing all these people. So it is work in that sense. I mean, we filmed it in December, end of December. It is now June, and we're still not, like, it's still not 100%. We're basically done, but we're still not like 100%.
You're like polishing it off.
Yeah.
Nice.
The when you get back home to Queens, to the block, does everybody recognize your talents, or are they still like, you ain't that funny?
No, people are supportive. No, people are supportive. Like my family and everyone, they're supportive. I'm also not the guy who's like out trying to be funny. Like I'm not like. I'm not at the family events or with my boys like, hey guys, look at me, look at this thing. If anything, I think I'm the opposite. I'm more like quiet and reserved. Like, so they never feel that they gotta humble me, I guess. Cause I don't, I don't, I do comedy on stage like every night. So I'm making people laugh every night. So when I'm around like a friend group or something, I don't need to necessarily be on or make them laugh. I kind of might be quiet and reserved, let you talk, let my friends, whatever, and then I'll get something from there, you know? Because that's where you get the stuff, right? You got to live life, observe people, hear their perspective. Sometimes I'll just be listening and somebody will say some crazy thing and I'll be like, that's insane. That's like an insane thing to say. and then I'll turn it into a bit somehow.
Do you have any bucket list venues that you were looking forward to performing at? Is there anywhere, or someone that maybe you've performed that's like that you want to shout out?
The Miami Improv. I'd like to shout out the Miami Improv. Bucket list venues. Not really, man. I can't. This is such a hard thing that we've decided to do. This is such a hard path that we've chosen that there's like, you have no idea or vision of where the top is. Even when you're quote unquote at the top, you never really feel it, or you never really feel comfortable. You never really feel like some people do. I think some people are, they're delusional in that way where they're like, I'm the best. And everyone knows that I'm the best. Like, I'll never feel that way. I'm always grinding. So to answer your venue question, I can't control those things. Like, I can't control if I ever perform at Madison Square Garden. What I can control is doing a good show wherever I'm at. And that's the stuff that I focus on. I never really think about a venue. I performed in a lot of cool places. I performed at Dave Chappelle's club before it was open. I was part of that. That wasn't like a bucket list that I thought like, oh, let me perform there. But what I did do was every time I got up at the Comedy Cellar, try to make sure that I was doing good stuff and good work. And he took notice of that and it brought me there. So I find that's the easier angle. This I can worry about. The material, writing bits, creating new jokes. I'll worry about that. And all the venues that it takes me to, it'll be something extra.
Nice. Damn, bro. This has been really, honestly, an incredible interview, man. Thank you so much, bro.
No, I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for having me, man. I hope this sells the weekend out.
Hey, man,
because you got me up at 9 a.m. So I'm going to take a poll. How many of y'all came off the podcast?
Heck yeah.
Please do. No, and let the people know because we're...
Exactly.
No, I love, first of all, I just love talking comedy. I just enjoy just talking comedy and getting different perspectives. But I was talking to a comic recently and they were saying... he was saying that he told his agents or whatever that like he wouldn't do a podcast unless they had like a certain amount of following or followers, and I was like, I'd be doing podcasts with 100 followers. Like, yeah. I'll still go do it because one, I enjoy talking comedy. Two, if I can help elevate anybody's platform, I'll do it. And also, even if you got even it's 100 listeners, if I can get 2 people that now jump on board the E-Train. I just came up with that. That's not bad.
Like that.
Yeah, I got to brand that. Yeah.
Get some hats and jackets.
Yeah, get on the E-Train, baby. Yeah. and become fans. That's cool. Like,
absolutely.
And we all growing together.
Yeah. Well, one of the things we always like, everyone talks about New York as the Mecca, and I believe it is. But the reason it is because it's got so many layers, so many years of people building on top of each other, and you have this culture. The audience is very mature in their comedy experience. They have favorite comedians. They've been out to comedy shows. So one of the things we're trying to establish down here in South Florida is that, is having that multi-year continuation where people are coming back and seeing somebody grow,
Yeah.
So it's dope that you say that because that's exactly what we're trying to do here, and we are very appreciative of you coming on board and helping us with that because it ties, it ties our community to something that's going on that's much bigger.
Yeah, no, the Miami comedy scene is growing. It's growing a lot. I hear it mentioned a lot in New York, like at the table and stuff. And it's important. Like, I think what the best thing about New York that allows it to be a flourishing comedy scene is that, the clubs understand that comedians need to get on stage and perform for them to get better, for them to elevate, for them to be at the top of their game. So I always say that when there's like a new scene is expanding, it's important that the clubs allow the comedians to do all the stages and get good at all the places. So then when they come back to your room, they're better. Like we need the stage time. So you can't be like, hey, don't do this club. Don't do, we need this, we need the stage time. And a lot of people are talking about the scene down here. So I'm excited to see like where it goes. I mean, obviously, the improv is huge anywhere they're at. So that's always going to be the top. They're always going to be at the top. I don't think they have to worry about like a new club like changing that. They're always going to be at the top because they're at the top in every city. But it's nice to see like new rooms opening up, and then I tell like the young comics, I'm like, when a new scene is expanding, like y'all gotta get it together, because when it comes, it's fast, and you have a window to hit. Right, people. If people are coming out and the shows are whack, they're not gonna keep coming. So when it starts picking up, and you got to give them good shows. So and all the venues, they need comics. They need good comics too. So you really got to get on your grind and make sure that when it hits, like you're able to New York has so many people that it's so many comics that you're already like grandfathered in, and usually we get the people who like were the king in their city, they move to perform, perform, and so they have that infrastructure. But it's important to like for the comics too to be like, all right, I gotta get this, I gotta have that the hot 15, the hot 5, the hot 30, the hot 20, like everything.
I think it's also really important for you guys to come out to the shows this weekend. I think if you take anything away from Ian and kind of what you've spoken about, your career, your path, and how much work you've put in, you guys have more than enough to chew on to understand that this weekend you're getting nothing but the best top-notch comedy, straight jokes, straight just professionalism, and you've shown that today on the show, man. I really like you said, you're gonna help us elevate our platform. We really appreciate you, and I think that this weekend of shows is gonna be one of the better that we've had all year so far.
That's dope, man. That's dope. Come out. And I know we talked a lot of like, we got a little heavy or deep in comedy land on the pod, but come to my show. It's all jokes. It's not like, I'm not there to give you my political views, my opinion on wars. I'm just there to tell you about bad stuff that happens.
There you go. And so you guys already know, go on MiamiImprov.com right now, guys, and get your tickets for the show. You can't get them anywhere else but MiamiImprov.com. This has been one of my favorite episodes ever right here on the Comedy Calendar, guys, here in South Miami at the Community Newspaper Studios. Remember, guys, until next week, keep laughing.